All right. This is your host, Taylor Johnson, of the inaugural Taylor Johnson Nick Fickbaum podcast. We've been wanting to start one for a while. Haven't had a chance to figure out how to do it yet, but we think we might have it figured out. Unfortunately, for the first ever podcast, Nick can't join because he's working, but I decided to discuss some NBA draft with our potential host. Kind of having auditions to be the host right now, and Charles Stewart, my cousin. He's gonna do his best right here to be the host of the first podcast. So I'll give it to Charles, and we'll start discussing the 2012 NBA draft starting tomorrow night, Thursday.
Like you said, I'm Charles Stewart, here to host the Fickbaum and Johnson podcast. What we're going to talk about today regarding the draft. First, we're just going to start by recapping the 2012 NBA season that just finished. Talk about some of the memories we had from the season. Then go into our draft coverage, starting with Anthony Davis as the number one pick. Beal versus Kid Gilchrist. Who's better? The Rockets trading up for Howard. Thunder trading up to get Beal. And other topics here on the podcast. Let's jump right in. Taylor, what are some of your moments that stand out from you from the 2012 NBA season?
I think the first and foremost would just be the great finals that occurred. Heat Thunder is what everybody wanted to see, and it was a joy to watch. I'm happy LeBron got his first championship. And then I guess the highlight for me just personally would be getting somewhat of season, the flex pack of Timberwolves tickets. I've been a Suns fan my whole life, but attending nearly 10 Timberwolves games this season kind of starting to draw a lot of interest into those Timberwolves. So I might be gaining dual fanship between the Timberwolves and Suns. It's crossing over those lines. I don't know if I can do it, but Timberwolves are definitely fun to watch. So excited for what the future holds for the Timberwolves, and not excited for what the future holds for the Suns.
Yeah, definitely T-Wolves are fun to watch. I think LeBron getting his first ring will stand out for many people as memorable from this season. Also, the lockout shortening the season. 66 games, the back-to-back-to-backs and all that stuff. In the end, it really didn't really affect the overall product of the game or the playoffs or anything like that, and I think that it turned out well for basketball and the NBA to finally get that deal done. All right, so the draft tomorrow night. Consensus number one overall pick, Anthony Davis, going to New Orleans. What type of player, what type of career do you think Anthony Davis can have?
I think I'll talk Davis in a second, but I think first got to just hype this draft. Like, there's nothing better than draft night. I don't know if people think it's a waste of time or whatnot, but it's just it's something to laugh at. Stuart Scott usually throws in really stupid questions from time to time. Outfits are ridiculous, but just the hoopla around it, I think, is worth it. Same with the NFL draft. So I'm super excited. If you're a hater of the draft, I suggest you watch it. It's definitely worth the while just for the jokes you can make and the drama that surrounds it. As for Anthony Davis, definitely a no-brainer at number one. I think, his if you were going to do a basement and ceiling, I think his ceiling's, potentially an all-time great in terms of a crazy amount of All-Star games, titles, definitely a number one guy on a team. You think people compare him, Bill Russell potentially impact on the defensive end. Some say Tim Duncan if he can develop more of an offensive game. So definitely an extremely high ceiling. As for his basement, it's not even that low of a basement either, I'd say. Maybe at worst a second guy who's just, God, you think a better Serge Ibaka maybe. Protects the rim for sure. But I think still way more, as athletic as Ibaka is, I think he'll develop way more of an offensive game. He can handle the ball, obviously. He can. It's more developed passing-wise, so it's going to be a crazy career, I feel, in the Hornets. Whether it was scandalous or not how they acquired that number one pick, they definitely lucked out there, and they're going to be a dangerous team in the West. The West just got a lot better.
You really think that the Hornets can become dangerous this soon? 1 year, 2 years? How long before the Hornets make the playoffs, do you think?
I think they can. If you look, you compare them to the bottom of the West, say like the Timberwolves, who are right around that 9 seed. People are saying they're on the rise. You compare them next to the Timberwolves, and if they get Davis and they pick again in the lottery, around what do they pick? I think 10-ish. They nab a couple players there, and and possibly nab or get Eric Gordon as well. That's I think that's a Timberwolves-like team right there. Young, energetic, and I would say they can compete for that. I'd probably peg them in the 8 through 11 range in the West, which coming out of coming into the lottery, you got the number one pick. I think that's a huge improvement.
Definitely, I think it's pretty clear. Davis will make an impact, and you know what you're going to get with him. After that, it's not real clear who the number 2 player is. A lot of people are saying Bradley Beal. Others say Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Who do you think is a better player, should be number 2, better career?
I think they're definitely different players in terms of their skill set. However, they both offer something. I mean, you're looking at players that are definitely, you're going to get something out of them. With Kidd-Gilchrist, it's a defensive player who's just he's going to high energy, super competitive, will lock down anybody, needs to work on his offensive game. Bradley Beal, you're going to get a shooter, somebody who off the dribble can score, definitely will fit in the NBA. You need as many scorers that can do that off the dribble as you can. If I'm number 2 and I'm the Bobcats, I'm taking Kidd-Gilchrist. Reason why, one, he's a winner. He's won throughout his career. And I think there's just a culture of losing in Charlotte. Big-time culture of losing. And I think to change that, you had Bradley Beal. He can score for you, yes, but Corey Maggette can score for you. I'm not saying Beal's going to be Corey Maggette, but right away he probably could compare to that in terms of how many points he's going to get you. As he goes on, he'll be a solid piece that'll get better. But I think Kidd-Gilchrist can change a locker room, bring that competitive edge that can start to transform a franchise faster.
I totally agree. I think Kidd-Gilchrist is the better player and should be number 2. I'm surprised it's even this close. How people are talking about Bradley Beal. You didn't really mention a comparison. Who do you think Kidd-Gilchrist and Bradley Beal are like in their NBA future?
I would say Kidd-Gilchrist is going to be, you think a super competitive defensive guy. First name that comes to mind obviously would be Scottie Pippen, but that's super high. I don't want to, we're not going to throw him the Scottie Pippen comparisons right away because then then it's a no-brainer number 2. But you just think of that kind of wing defender who you look at how LeBron can guard 5 positions, anywhere, which is incredible. I think MKG, he's going to be able to guard 3, a 2, a 3. He could maybe even guard a 4. He can guard point guards potentially. So, trying to think NBA comparisons, maybe if you want to go at worst, maybe a Tony Allen too. He's a little bigger, more athletic, but he can be that super defensive guy. But Kidd-Gilchrist is going to be a lot more athletic and be able to run the floor.
Definitely score the ball better than Tony Allen.
Yeah, if he can work on that jump shot, he can finish way better. Get to the whole lot. He's not going to tear his ACL trying to dunk on when the play's over. I don't think he'll do that. And then if you go Beal comparisons, I'm going to give him. Some people say Ray Allen in terms of shooting touch, but Ray Allen's more coming off screens and shooting. Bradley Beal, he likes to do off the dribble. Florida kind of messed with him by trying to put him just in the corner, almost just spot-up shooter. And he likes to create himself. So when you think of guys creating themselves, you think Jason Terry. He's obviously bigger than him, but just Jason Terry's, Eric Gordon, Ben Gordon, and some of those guys might have negative connotations, but they're just guys that that they're going to come in and they're going to be able to score the basketball for you off the dribble and create their own shots, which is an asset in the NBA.
I think the main reason why I think that Kidd-Gilchrist should be the number 2 pick over Beal is you know what you're getting with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. He's super competitive, like you said, and plays defense, works hard, and I don't really know what Beal. It's so much of it is potential based, and you don't really know what you're going to get. I think there's a chance he could be like Ray Allen and be a scorer and great 3-point shooter, but I think there's also a chance he could be like a Daquan Cook type player. Maybe can shoot threes and get you buckets, but not really going to be a star player who's going to stand out and lottery worthy. So interesting to see how that turns out.
Daquan Cook cannot score off the dribble.
No, I'm saying Daquan Cook is a shooter and will score baskets when he's open.
I hear what you're saying. I just don't think Bradley Beal ever is going to be an 11th man off the Thunder. Like, he will always have a role on a team of playing solid minutes.
Yes. I was trying to get to the point that it's uncertain what his future could be, and it's more up in the air than Kidd-Gilchrist, who you know what you're getting with. All right, moving on to the next point. Oklahoma City Thunder wanting to trade up for Bradley Beal. What do you think they can get? What do you think they have to give up? Just what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's Harden or bust if you're going to get Bradley Beal because you got to move top 4. I saw a funny tweet. Somebody asked Ryan Russillo. Russillo mentioned this, that Harden, possibly going to somebody like the Bobcats for Beal, and somebody asked, why don't they just package Nick Collison, Kendrick Perkins, and Thabo for the pick? And Russillo responded with, for what pick? The 33rd pick? That package isn't getting it done. So it's Harden or bust. And it's intriguing. People probably scoff at that because James Harden's a perennial superstar and he's proven that in the league. But you're thinking Thunder. They've maxed out Westbrook. They've maxed out Durant. You got Harden there, and you still got Serge. So you got pieces. Now you think how much money you're actually potentially saving if you ship Harden for Beal. Harden's going to get max money. Beal's going to get on a rookie contract. That's double-digit million, $10 to $12 million in savings right there. Where now do you sign Ibaka with it, or do you go out and get somebody else? And if Beal can produce, I think at half of what Harden can, which is saying something still. I mean, it's something you consider for the Thunder.
So do you think it's worth giving up Harden for Beal? Maybe that compromises some of their chances for a title this year. Maybe it's better for the future, but can they get back to the finals?
I mean, that's just, it's the age-old question. Do you want it? Are you playing for the future? Or are you playing for next year? Because if they're trying to win next year, you don't do that deal. It'll be a blow to the team. But Harden's probably gone after next season unless they want to shell out max money for him too and be pretty strapped cap-wise. Like looking at the Miami Heat, and they all took pay cuts or a little bit of pay cuts. So I think if I'm the Thunder, I do seriously consider it.